What's good? It's your boy Mixtape Moth, and today I'm gonna hit y'all with my thoughts on last night's Verzuz battle between Fabolous and Jadakiss. Let's get to it. So this was another big event for the culture. Both artists actually have quite a few similarities. One being they are both veteran rappers from New York. Number two, they are both associated with the same era in hip hop. Even though Jadakiss had an earlier start in the late 90s, they're kind of lumped into the 2000s era category of New York rappers. And number three, they both have an extensive catalog with great songs, crazy verses, and impressive features, yet neither one of them have a classic album under their belt. I think Jada might come the closest, but none of them have an album that a purist can play all the way through with no skips. It's just a reality. All right, so let me get into this battle. Look, I personally thought going into this event that Jada had the superior discography and a greater chance of winning. Although I wasn't going to sleep on Fab, but the reality of it is that Jada just has more songs that carry more weight in the culture, in my opinion. So out of the standard 20 rounds, Jadakiss was the undisputable winner by far. I had scored Kiss as winning 13 rounds and Fab at 6, with one round at a tie. And it is important to note that both Fab and Jada's DJ had total control of the songs being played, which ultimately ended up hurting Fab. So with that being said, let me go ahead and break down these rounds. Round one, DMX's Blackout verse, Lil Wayne's You Ain't Got Nothing. So this was an easy Jada win without me having to give it much thought. For starters, Blackout just has a better beat, and while the Fab verse is dope as fuck, Jada's bars were just way more memorable. It was a good intro for Jada to set things off. Round two, the Lox is Recognized versus Cassidy's 6 Minutes of Death. I think this was a missed opportunity for Fab because I don't think many people are going to remember this song. I don't know, maybe the battle rap Cassidy fans love it, but the bigger picture here is that Recognize has a classic primo beat and the Cassidy track has a really dated 2000s instrumental. Sure, Fab had a fire verse, but there's no way it's beating this Lock song. Jadakiss wins this one, no question. Round three, Nas's Made You Look remix versus Lloyd Banks started up. Fab was really off to a rocky start here. This Jada feature has always been crazy to me. And to be honest, I never got into the Lloyd Banks track to begin with. In fact, I don't even remember it. So it clearly resulted in another Jada victory. Round four, Jadakiss's By Your Side versus Fab's Traded All Part 2. Okay, so Fab started to see the writing on the wall and he decided to go into his R&B bag. As good as By Your Side was, I think Fab wins this one just because as far as the rap and R&B style tracks go, Fab's song is just a little better. Plus, I think the IG crowd was way more in favor of this one. So I'm going to give this round to Fab. You know, sometimes you got to read the room. Round five, the Lox is All for the Love versus Fab's I'ma Do It featuring Kobe. Look, this one wasn't even close. That Fab song featuring Kobe was like the essence of a microwave dinner, hot for a second, late 2000s R&B rap. There was nothing remotely stand out about it at all. And All for the Love is easily a top 20 beat of all time. This was a terrible choice on Fab's part. Round six, DJ Clue's Chest to Chest freestyle versus Fab's Keeping It Gangsta. All right, so this one wasn't as easy to decide, but I'm going to go with Fab, and here's why. Even though the Clue freestyle was fire and captured the hungry essence of the early Lox, this was an actual Fab solo track that also displayed his hunger and grittiness. I'm going to give it to Fab since it was an album track and not just a freestyle, as it is important that we got to give credit to the actual cuts that made the album sometimes. Round 7, Rough Riders World War III versus Fab's Gangsters Don't Play featuring Junior Reed. This was another difficult round that I had initially listed as a tie, but I decided to declare Fab as the winner because he had all of IG turned up. Gangsters Don't Play was a summer anthem, plus it had that Brooklyn feel. He was definitely smart for throwing in some of that Jamaican flavor as well, as you can never really go wrong with that kind of style. But the Jadakiss verse on World War III was always insane nonetheless. Round 8, Nori's Banned from TV versus Fab's Brooklyn. So this was the one and only round that I had as a tie, and here's some reasons why. While Banned from TV had a better beat in general, and possibly even a better Jada verse than what Fab provided on Brooklyn, the energy on Brooklyn is undeniable. Plus it has an incredible Hove feature, not to mention a Biggie sample. So it was really hard to decide who won. That's why I declared it as a tie. Round 9, the Lox' Blood Pressure versus Fab's Young OG. In terms of energy, not much is going to beat a record like Blood Pressure. It's the definition of a Swizz Beatz banger. Sure, the Fab track is great, but it's more of an introspective and reflective song. I sensed that Fab wanted to shift the energy into more of a laid-back direction, but at the end of the day, the more appropriate song in this scenario was indeed Blood Pressure, so the round went to Kiss. Round 10, Black Rob's Can I Live featuring Jeezy's OJ. Look, as an older head, I think Black Rob's Can I Live is way more impressive and flyer sounding than the Jeezy record. Kiss was really in his prime on this track, plus it had that smooth YO meets Harlem energy. Man, clearly it's a Kiss win for me, but I suspect that a younger crowd might have picked the Jeezy track. Round 11, Faboulous' Ball Drop versus Puffy's Victory. So this was a weird round in that Jada isn't featured on the song Victory, but somehow I still have him winning the round. You know why? Because he wrote Puffy's verse, and the song itself is so iconic even without Jada's vocals that it blows Ball Drop out of the water completely. I definitely don't think Fab saw this one coming. Round 12, Meek Mill's Uptown Vibes versus Sheek Louch's Mighty D Block. Okay, this wasn't an easy round to decide because I love the Spanish trap beat on Uptown Vibes, and Fab's verse was definitely on point. It is a summer banger. However, there's something so gritty about Mighty D Block. It's got some classic Kiss bars like Revolver or the Maddie's Cool, Knife Game Like Daddy Cool, Since Bally Shoes, Real Life Street Shit, the truest and the deepest. I know brothers that go to jail just to get their teeth fixed. So as a result of the killer bars, I'm giving this round to Kiss. Round 13, Fab's Can't Deny It featuring Nate Dogg and the Lox' Fuck You. This shows Kiss continuing to control the direction for the remainder of this battle. It doesn't get more grimy, street, and aggressive than Fuck You. As great as Fab's single with Nate Dogg was, he didn't have any outstanding lines like Jada's Everybody's a Snake, that's why you gotta keep the grass cut. Although it was a close round, I'm giving this one to Jada. Round 14, Fab's Throw It in the Bag remix versus Jada's Knock Yourself Out. So to be honest, I never liked either song in this round. However, they were both Pharrell beats. But if I had to pick between the two, I would go with Knock Yourself Out just because the energy was more live. And the Throw It in the Bag remix was simply a watered down record. Round 15, Fab's Holla Back Youngin' vs. Ghostface Killah's Run remix. Fab was not giving up in trying to get Jada to play his commercial records. While Holla Back Youngin' is indeed a vintage Fab song and not a bad track on its own, it doesn't compete with the hard-nosed Run remix. Maybe casual rap fans would disagree, but there's no way a traditionalist or street rap fan would pick Fab in this case. It's not happening. Round 16, Fab's You Be Killing Them versus Puffy's All About the Benjamins. Fab got slaughtered here. This round wasn't even close. As nice as Fab is, he just doesn't have records this iconic in his catalog. So there really wasn't much he could have done in this situation. I mean, obviously he could have picked a doper record to begin with, but still. Round 17, Fab's Make Me Better versus DJ Clue's Back to Life 2001. All right, so the more traditional hip hop head side of me was going to go with the Clue song, but to be fair, Make Me Better was definitely a bigger record with way more reach. Sure, the Neo song was commercial as ever, but I never actually minded it, so I gave this round to Fab. Round 18, Fab's Can't Let You Go versus Deluxe's Ride or Die Bitch. This was part of the battle where Fab was pulling out all the big guns. You knew it was coming. However, I actually forgot just how wavy Ride or Die Bitch was. It was really ahead of its time in terms of vibe music now that I think about it. But I'm going to have to go with Fab here because his song is just a little more recognizable and more important to the party and R&B club scene, although this was a close round. Round 19, Fab So Into You versus Jaheim's Diamond in the Rough remix. I think this was a missed opportunity for Jada. I mean, it was a cool song and all, but not something he should have played when Fab was giving us his most famous records. Obviously, Jada knew he already won the battle, but still. Look, this Fab record is great. You can't deny it. No matter how hardcore you are, you gotta respect it for what it is. And that brings us to round 20, Fab's Breathe versus Jada's We Gon' Make It. Okay, this was definitely a tough round to pick. Two of their best songs, arguably. But I decided to give the win to Jada since this is one of his most distinguished street records. The Alchemist production on here to this day is unmatched. Sure, Breathe would have likely beaten other Jada songs in this battle, but not when up against We Gon' Make It. Overall, my final score had Jada winning 13 rounds, Fab winning 6, and round 8 being the one and only tie with the tracks banned from TV versus Brooklyn. I mean, was this a blowout? Well, kind of. I mean, in a presidential election, this would clearly be a landslide in favor of Jadakiss. Look, I think we all could agree that Fab and I guess most importantly his DJ squandered some opportunities here. Without digging too deep into his catalog, I think any of the following tracks would have garnered better results. Songs like One Day, Lullaby, Money Comes and Goes featuring Hove, Lituation, Salute, and that goes without even bringing up his Soul Tapes collection. At the end of the day, Jada clearly played his cards right and counterpunched like a motherfucker. He knew what his strengths were, and he didn't try to pander too much to the R&B crowd, thankfully, because if he did, the Fab wins would have been significantly higher. It was possibly a risky strategy for Jada, but he went full stomp you out with a pair of Timbos, Jada, and came out the winner. This was my second favorite Verzuz battle thus far, with Primo and RZA being my number one. I think this was a good matchup given the artists' similarities. Let's face it, Fab and Jada have been talked about in barbershops for well over a decade now, and we finally get some clarity. Hope that didn't hurt anyone's feelings, although Fab's DJ did sabotage him. But yeah, this was really dope to watch two underrated New York vets go at it. Let me know your thoughts on this battle in the comment section below. Who did you have winning and why? What were some of the tracks that you thought Jada or Fab definitely should have played? It's your boy, Mixtape Moth. I'm signing out, but be sure to hit that like button and please subscribe. As always, it's peace and blessings. Fabolous versus Jadakiss 1.